Hello, welcome into this fourth video. In this video, we're going to proceed and create a couple more functions for our safety independent outputs. And as well as that, we'll also bring in our force sequence function as well. So I'm going to go straight ahead into this one. I'm going to add in a new block, SCL. This is a function indeed. And this one here, I'm going to call outputs hyphen, and this is safety. The underscore in depth, safety independent. Yeah, so in a similar fashion to what I had here, the output safety dependent, where I laid out my actuators, actuator A, B, and C, and I also had my function parameters slash code variables. I have DQ, sequence 1, 2, and 3 in this. I'm also going to bring in now my something very similar here for my safety independence. So I'm going to control my outputs, my apologies, in outs, DQ. Data type indeed is a UDT DQ. And I'll bring in sequence 1. That is UDT. What type UDT is that? But a sequence UDT. I'm going to take in seek 2, seek 3. Now, for this one, what I'm also going to do is bring in management, because in management, there are other sections of code, other variables that I will control. For instance, the status of the system, the run modes, and which sequences I'm running, or which sequence I'm currently running, sequence 1, sequence 2, or sequence 3. One of the key safety independent outputs, of course, are going to be my lights. So, for instance, I might want a light to come on at the start of a sequence and at the end of a sequence. I might want a light to come on in the middle of a sequence and off at the end of a sequence or so. There's numerous ways that I can control the lights. So I'm going to go through a couple of them here. I'm going to try to give an even enough spread on controlling lights so that whenever you see the sequence that's you're required to execute in the World Skills Regional Finals, you'll be able to get the lights to work to emulate that with as little movement as possible. So what outputs really are left? Let's just get a quick look at that. I'm going to go into my DQs. So there's all my extensions, right? And retractions for my actuators. My cylinders there generally looked after in the safety dependent. So I have air supply and lights really is all that I need to look after. Right? I'm going to do my lights here first. All right, so I'm going to go just for region. I'm going to go for lights. So you can put in a statement for a section for this region. So this is coding to energize lights steady, flashing, or de-energize. So for every light, I'm going to put in 3 different states. That it's either going to be steady on, solid on, it's going to be flashing at a specific flash rate measured in hertz, or it's going to be off. Right, so the first one I'm going to do here is going to put in a region for PB1. This is going to be a sub-region. Or let's go for LGT-PB1. Alright, so it's going to say if statement. This statement setting conditions for steady, flashing, or off. Alright, so steady or solid if you like. Alright, so this is what we're going to say for PB1. So I'm going to write out PB1 as if it was, PB1 is our momentary button. PB1 is our dedent, our retentive button. And in a lot of cases, what we're going to have in this is that button lights up whenever the button is pressed itself. All right, so it's independent of a sequence or a mode, as it might be. So I'm going to write in this one like so. Let me actually just bring in one more input here, one more variable, a di. dt di, because I want to read a di state, digital input state. I'm going to say there that if that button is actuated, then the light should be on steady. So if di dot xpb1, if that is on, then I'm going to say there that dq dot xlgt pb1 is going to be true. So if the button's pressed, that's going to be true. Okay. And this one here, else if it's not pressed, dq.xpb lgt.xpb1 xlgt-pb1, excuse me, is false. And if, all right. So there is pb1 just for now. Right, what I'm actually going to do, let me just to simplify it, there's no need for putting that into the bracket or into its own region. I'm going to say if this here is going to be the condition here for, say, pb1 solid or steady, then that, else this is the condition here for pb1 off, lgt pb1 lgt pb1. Just took it out of the region there because probably very little need to get it too heavy in the region. Right, so there's pb1. So you can keep it in a region if you like. We'll just write it like this: lgt pb1. All right, now the other ones are going to operate slightly differently. So this is going to be pb2, which is momentary button. In a lot of cases like this, you might power on pb1, and if pb1 is pressed and you're not running a sequence, maybe all lights are on solid. Right, I'm just going to pick something here. All lights are on solid. And then whenever you press a button, whenever you press, say, push button 2, I'm going to make that button start to flash. Right, when that button has been pressed, and then if not, anything off. Right, so the condition for this to be steady. So if this is for light PB2 to be steady. So if I have push button 1 pressed, and now I'm going to say that I'm not running any sequence at all. So this will make more sense when we do our management block. But I'm going to write into the management block dot run sequence equals 0. So if my push button's pressed and I'm not running a sequence, right, then I want this light in PB2 to be true. Right, no. Else if, of course I'm going to have an error with that else. However, else if I have that push button pressed and I'm running, say, sequence 1. So I'm going to imagine in this case that I press push button 2, which is my first momentary push button, to start sequence 1. So I'm running sequence 1. Then light PB2, I want it to flash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to the memory bit as M0, and I'm going to choose 1 Hertz. Right, so this one here, else if, let me just actually write it the same just to keep it the same on the top. Else if this is LGT PB2 flash at 1 Hertz. What's the condition? That I have PB1 pressed and then I'm running sequence 1. If the two of them are true, then yes, I'm gonna be running this clock at 1 Hertz, or else, right, PB2 is going to be off. That's it. PB2, light PB2. So there you go. So there's my code now for light PB2. Again, just purely for a template. These lights can be started up any way at all. So we're just going to run it like this. So the condition is here that if I have my DDENT pressed and I'm not running any sequence, I'm just in standby, then the light's going to be true. Right, it's true. Or else if there's a different condition, and this is going to be the condition to have the light flash at 1 Hertz. If PB1 is still on, but not that I'm in run sequence 0, but that I'm in run sequence 1, only if I'm in run sequence 1, then I want that light on PB2 to flash at 1 Hertz. Or else, for all other conditions, that light is off. Right, so that means if I'm on PB3, it's off. If I'm on PB4, it's off. PB whatever, it's going to be off. Now, what if it's the case there that I don't want it to be off? What if it's a case there that I want it on for all run sequences except flashing in sequence 1, and the only time there that I want it to be off is when I don't have push button 1 pressed? Well, that'll be handy enough, because what I'll write here is just going to be else if, say, PB2 is equal to true or not PB2, then it'll be false. Right, so at the minute here, it's only going to be on solid in 0, and when this push button is true. So that really should be it. Now, what happens when I'm executing sequence 2? Well, it's going to be off. When I'm executing sequence 3, it's going to be off, because I don't have anything here to say that it should be on or that it should be flashing in sequence 2 or in sequence 3. So that's just the way I'm going to leave that one. All right, so there's push button 1 and push button 2. Right? Push button 3. Right. Now, we could write this up as a completely separate one if we so choose. All right. But for now, PB1, I'm not. PB3 should flash if I have PB1 and I'm running sequence 2. Second one down. PB3 should flash, or then PB3 should be off for all other circumstances. And then PB4, I'm going to do the same. PB4 steady. If my push button is made, or my momentary button is made, and I'm in sequence 0, not running any sequence, then PB4 should be on solid. However, if I have my DDENT made and I'm running sequence 3, then light PB4 should be flashing at 1 Hertz, and for all other circumstances, PB4 should be off. So there is there's 4 lights coded just like that. Right. Now we also have a red light, an amber light, and a green light. Now we'll use these here for different scenarios in the PLC code, or different things that you might come across in the circuit requirements. So for light red, so I'm going to start off in here on the same idea, and I'm just going to take this here as a template, because they're all going to be a steady, a flashing, and an off. So light red steady, light red flash, and light red off. All right, so I'm going to have nothing to do with XPB1s on this, but I'm going to say, right, just say for argument's sake, if I am running, let's say if I'm running sequence 1, let's turn on the red light solid. If I'm running any other sequence other than 1 and 0, the red light should flash. No, I'll tell you actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to, I'll write it up like this. And I say if I'm in sequence 1 between step, I don't know, 10 and 40, it's red. So if sequence 1 dot W step is greater than are equal to 20, and sequence 1 W step is less than 50, then my light red should be true. So this light's going to be on solid if sequence 1 step is greater than or equal to 20 and less than 50. Or else, when do you want this to flash? Well, if, say, Control C, if sequence 1 step is greater than or equal to 50, take it up from there, let's just start flashing it, and sequence run, on sequence 1 step is indeed less than 80, then put it flashing, red of course, or else for all other conditions it's off. Right, that's red. Now let's do amber. Let's try something else with amber. Amber. By the way, you can see if I highlight all that and I hit a Control F, and what I want to do is I hit a, oh, let me see, find, not that there, apologies. Put it back, red, ambers, yeah. So I want to change all my, say, reds to ambers, right? So I'm going to find all references to the red, and I want to replace with amber, right? And hit find, there's a red, right? I can replace, 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 replace. Right? So don't do that from the very start. Just do it from where you want to start your search, which will typically be up here, and you can place red with amber there, and you're less likely to miss one of your reds with ambers. But let's write a different circumstance here for amber. So let's see, for amber, if I am running sequence, let's say if I'm running sequence 1, I want that to be, I want that on solid. So if on my sequence data, which sequence I'm running, runs in management, runs sequence, if management runs sequence is equal to 1, come on steady, then I'm on true, Control C, if, or else, if my run sequence is equal to 2, go flashing, or else for all other conditions, light amber is off. Control C. Okay, right, light, finally green. Right, so I can also write if, oh, let's do the same thing here, but this time let's change amber to green. Right, so we'll go for find, there's my first one, hit replace, 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 that's it done. So I say light green steady, so keep my light steady if, not manage, let's not check run sequence in this, let's check management dot safe status. If safe status is equal to safe, so again it's a string, I'm going to write that, then it's going to be on, green, steady. Right, or else if, let's, probably wouldn't flash it green if it was unsafe, but I don't want to put in any conflicting code, so I'm just going to say if is unsafe for that, let's flash it green. Normally be red, but again, we're just I'm just trying to bring in a couple of different options here, or else it's going to be off for all other conditions. So green is only coming on or off based off the safety status. Or else maybe this is what we can do. We could say, let's put in red, sequence 1 step, if sequence 1 step is between 20 and 50, this will be on solid true is red, right? Or management dot safe status. If management dot safe status say does not equal to safe, so just in case you forget what you write, then we're going to go into that there. Right, so you don't have to write is equal to unsafe. I could just say if it's not equal to safe, which is probably a safer thing to write than equal to. Let's just go for not equal to safe, because I might put in unsafe e-stop tripped, unsafe safety light curtain tripped, unsafe door open, which is different from unsafe. They're different strings. So if it's not equal to, it's either safe or one of maybe a dozen other reasons for being unsafe. These will actuate here. These will work this way if it is any of them other regions other than safe. Okay, so that's that, and so on. So there's my red lights on my PB4. Red light, amber light, green light. So there's my lights region, right? So it'll also have then, just say it's going to be my region. It's going to have other inputs in it. This could be maybe air supply. Right, so this is going to, in this case, say air allowance to board based on safety status, for instance. You could have other things in this here. For instance, you might want to lock piloted check valves using another valve on this here, which you'd also include in this, which you might say here, allow air to the piloted check valves only any time that the linear actuator, linear drive is moving, but all other times switch it off. So you could say there that if cylinder B or cylinder C, say if cylinder C is your linear actuator, if cylinder X or C X or C ret is true, then air supply should be true. But for this one here, I'm just going to base this on safety status. So if, again, this is management dot safe status is equal to safe, then if that's the case, then we're going to say that dq dot air supply will be true, else dq dot air supply will be false. So we're only going to let air onto this in the cases where the system is confirmed to be safe to operate. We'll give air supply. Now, maybe you want air supply on all the time. If you do, you just come in and you can comment the whole lot of this out, or indeed you can change it to suit it to whatever you want it to be. Right, so that's there. That's all the outputs covered in there. What I'm going to do now is I have their safety dependent ones in here, and in this one I have my safety independent. Safety independent, let's drop that in. So I'm not going to put anything in there just yet. Now, this is addressing everything in and out of the function. Oh, going up there again. Boop. On up. DQ is my data dot DQ. Sequence 1, my data dot sequence 1, my data dot sequence 2, my data dot sequence 3, and of course management, my data dot management, and my data dot DI. Right, that's all them done. This here is outputs, safety independent. And so regardless of what the safety status is, if I'm safe or unsafe, I'm going to be able to scan this block. That'll allow me to operate lights if I'm safe or unsafe, or deemed to be safe or unsafe. Whereas the outputs network 2 just will not be scanned at all if I'm unless I'm equal to safe. Okay, let's compile this, and everything looks good there. All right, nice. Let's save that as well. 25 minutes. All right. What I may do on this one here, I'm just going to finish up this video here just to keep these a little bit shorter, and then in the next video we'll come back and we'll write a little bit of a sequence. I'll show you how to program the timers and how to program the counters for any of the sequences, and then we'll finish off by writing up the management block, and that'll be the end of the template. After that we'll look at a couple of example task Cs from the UK WorldSkills regional finals for automation. Okay, so thanks very much for joining the video. Again, if you have any questions, just drop me in a comment there. I'll keep an eye on them and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So thanks very much. Good luck. Bye.